Hey everyone, welcome back to the Makers Gonna Learn YouTube channel. My name's Alicia. I'm a craft producer here with Makers Gonna Learn, and today I'm gonna be showing you all how to take our favorite Dollar Tree gift wrapping items and elevating them so they look super expensive and very fancy. There are a few different ways that you can take things such as greenery or real ribbon and add them to your gifts to make them look super, super nice. I'm going to show you all of our tips and tricks. So outside of finding a very pretty, simple wrapping paper such as this classic Christmas plaid, you can do things like adding a real ribbon to your boxes rather than the fluffy, like classic birthday bows that you all see everywhere. You can see them, you can find them in the Dollar Tree, but this velvet ribbon just makes it have a really nice touch. And then we even added a piece of cardstock layered just to give it a little bit of razzle dazzle. It's got some sparkle on it. So let's hop into Design Space and I'm going to show you how to cut this out. Okay, so once you're in Design Space, we're just going to go ahead and pull up a text box. You could actually personalize this to say to mom, to dad, to whoever you are gifting it to, but we're just going to stick with Merry Christmas for now. And I'm going to be using a retro font. Now, you don't necessarily have to do a retro font. I just really like this font that we're using today. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup to lines and kind of butt these up close together. And then I'm going to change the font to Saturday Night. And so whenever you're cutting things out of cardstock, you want to make sure that everything is completely connected. Otherwise, you're going to spend a lot of time connecting pieces. Like if the C isn't connected to the M, you're going to have it floating over here on its own. It is touching the H a little bit, but I kind of like to butt them up super close together. You can move it around, whatever you want to do. But I'm going to add one of the glyphs. Now we have a very detailed tutorial on how to access your glyphs on your computer. If you all are interested, we will link that video down below for you. But I'm going to go ahead and change this I to one of the glyphs for this font. So I'm going to go to my font book. So you can see whenever you get in your font book, there are tons of different glyphs that you can use. You could pull an A if you wanted to. The I worked for me best, but I kind of played around in Design Space and saw which one worked best for me. So I'm just gonna scroll until I find one that I like. And I think that this one right here is super cute. I'm gonna select it, hit Command C, which is gonna copy it. And then I'm gonna hit Command V in Design Space and it's gonna plug it right there. Now you can see that the I is not touching anything, so I'm going to scooch this over so it kind of brushes up against that M, and now everything is connected. Then we're just going to weld this together, and then I'm going to select it again, and we're going to add an offset. I'm going to do a 0.25 offset, and I'm going to change that color to red. We can change our weld result to white, and you can change this depending on what color cardstocks you want to use and things like that. And then what we can do next is resize this so that it fits onto our box. So you're going to want to measure your box and make sure it's not too big for your box. I did make mine pretty oversized, but honestly, if you wanted to shrink it down a little bit, you totally could. That is totally up to you. But back in Design Space, we're going to go ahead and just shrink this down. I'm going to make it about 5 inches wide so you can manually change the measurements up there at the top middle. And then I am going to send this through the Cricut. We're going to select on matte, confirm, and then you can see the white will go on this one and then the red will go on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and put my cardstock on a light grip mat, and we're going to be using this really pretty red today. I love this sparkly red. And then I also have a sparkly white. Now you could just use regular white cardstock. You don't have to use glitter. It's totally up to you. Like I said before, your colors and stuff, as long as they're all coordinating, this is going to still really elevate your piece. You don't necessarily have to do the exact colors that we're showing you today. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lay this up here. And then we're gonna take the brayer and make sure this is on here really well. Okay. Then in Design Space, we're gonna go ahead and select Continue, and we're gonna be using a maker today. And our base material is gonna be under Glitter Cardstock. Okay. And we're gonna be using a fine point blade, and then we can go ahead and load this into our Cricut. So whenever we're cutting glitter cardstock, you can see in Design Space, it's gonna do a couple of passes just to make sure that everything cuts nice and well. Okay, so Merry Christmas is cut. I'm just gonna gently pull this cardstock off of the mat. And then you can take one of these spatulas. And what I like to do, especially with paper crafts, is flip my mat over and then peel it off of the mat very gently. Okay. And then you can see the M wasn't connected, which is totally fine, but at least now we've only got 2 pieces rather than every single letter not being connected. So we've got that part. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the red part and then we will assemble it. Okay, so we've got both of our pieces, and what I'm gonna do is just take one of these ATG guns and I'm gonna go on the back side of these pieces and add a little bit of ATG. You could also use just like a little bit of glue if you wanted. I just really like the ATG because it pretty much adheres immediately. This is borderline too small for the ATG gun, but it works. Okay, and then I'm just going to line this up. And then we've got this super cute little Merry Christmas. And then we can add this to the top of our gift. Okay, so to achieve the final look, we're gonna need to go ahead and wrap our gift. So I've got a UPS box here. I have our velvet red ribbon from the Dollar Tree, our plaid Christmas wrapping paper from the Dollar Tree, and some really good wrapping paper scissors. I keep my Christmas scissors separate from all the rest of the scissors at the house because I know that I need ones that are gonna cut really well. So what we're gonna do, and if you didn't know, you should always wrap your presents upside down. So we're gonna put the top to the ground, and I'm just going to kind of line this up to make sure that we are covering the whole thing. And then I actually really love that this Dollar Tree paper has grid on it because you can cut along the lines, which makes it like super easy to make a straight line. Okay. And you can also use the grids on here to count to see how wide you want it to be. So on this side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.5. You just want to make sure that it's at least coming up a little over halfway on the side of your box. So I'm going to do 4.5 over here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.5 over here. So we're going to trim that. And then you can save this excess piece for other wrapping if you want to. And so what we'll do now is go ahead. I'm going to either, you can tape it or you can hot glue it. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to tape this here. And then for the part that you're actually going to see, I'm going to pull it up here. And you can see where I've cut is not that pretty. So what I'm going to do is fold it. I'm just gonna fold it right along this line Want to make sure it's as straight as we can get it, just like that. And then we're going to line it up again. And I'm going to take some hot glue. I'm going to go right there and then attach that. That's going to make it look really clean. You're not going to see any tape, but it's going to be sealed. So I'm just going to take this hot glue right along here. And hot glue dries fairly quickly, so we've got to be quick. And I'm going to pull that as tight as I can, make sure it's lined up, and then just flatten it out. Okay. Now this is kind of like sitting like this. Whenever we go to put these sides down, it's going to seal in really well, so don't worry. And then what we're going to do, we're going to fold in our sides. So this is the bottom. I'm going to fold these sides in, and actually I'm seeing that it's a little bit too long on the edges, so I'm going to trim these edges up. I'm just going to cut about 1.5 squares off. Okay, so everything is trimmed, and I'm just going to fold my edges in. So I'm just folding it in and then flattening it out on the bottom first. I'm gonna fold it in, flatten it out, do the same thing over here. So I am gonna fold my edges in just like this. And we're just going to flatten it out as best as we can. I'm gonna flatten it all the way to the top and then kind of fold these flaps. And then we're gonna do the same thing down here at the bottom, staying as crisp as we possibly can. Just like so. And then I'm going to add a piece of tape right here at the top. I don't want it to be huge. Just a small piece of tape right here. And then we're going to hot glue this edge over top of it. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right here. And really, I could add a little bit up here too. Okay, just like that. So you can't actually see the glue, and just make sure your edges are smooth all the way out. And then you've got your cute little box, and now we just need to add our ribbon and our Merry Christmas. So now that we have our box wrapped, we're going to go ahead and add our ribbon, and we're going to start from the top of our box. So I'm going to give myself a lot of leeway. So I've got the ribbon. I'm going to give myself like a lot of slack on this end, and it's going to depend on the size of your box, the amount of ribbon you need. But what I'm going to do, we're going to start at the top here, okay? If you need to put a little piece of tape, you can. I kind of like to let it have room to wiggle. So I'm just going to let that be like that. I'm going to flip this over, okay? And then I'm going to, so we're wrapped all the way around the box now. We've still got our tail here. What I'm going to do now, where these two pieces cross, I'm going to just cross them like this, and we're going to come up the other sides of the box. Okay. And then you can see we've got our tail side here, and then we've got the end of our roll over here. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut this ribbon off. And we're going to tie this up here at the top. Now, you can do a simple bow just like this, or you can do one of the fancier bows that I'm going to show you all here in just a little bit. But what I'm going to do is just make a simple bow. I'm tying this like I would tie my shoestrings. Okay, the only difference here is that I want this red velvet side to show the entire time. I do not want this underneath side of the ribbon to show. So I'm going to make sure whenever I wrap through the middle of my bow that I'm twisting my ribbon so that when I come through the middle here, it's going to show the red velvet part. And then when you come through the back side of your bow, you're going to want to twist it again so that when you poke it through, the velvet side is actually showing. Okay. And then we're just going to tighten our bow up to our liking. And then you can fluff it out and trim your tails. Okay, and I'm just going to dovetail these ribbon ends. So what you're going to do is fold your ribbon in half long ways. So my open end is over here and my folded end is over here. I'm going to take my scissors. Starting on the open end. I'm going to cut up towards the closed side. Just like that. You're going to get this really pretty dovetail. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to fold this in half. Then we've got the open side over here and the closed side on the right. You're always going to be cutting up at a 45-degree angle towards the closed end. Okay. So there's our perfect little bow. And all we need to do now is add our Merry Christmas. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this, and you can kind of play around with the placement, like if you wanted to put it right on top. I kind of like it tucked away up here. You could even put it at the bottom. Totally up to you. I'm just going to take our hot glue gun, put a little dot on the back of there, and then attach it to our box. And that's it. Next, I want to show you all how to take a very simple craft paper bag and add a beautiful bow to it as well as a little ornament. And that way you can use things that you already have, maybe even like leftover Christmas decor or anything that you can just snatch at the Dollar Tree and add it to a bag for a quick and easy elevated gift wrapping idea. So all you're gonna need is a brown craft paper bag. It doesn't have to be brown. If you wanted to do red or blue or whatever colors you're doing, you can grab those. And this is something that I like to do with my tissue paper whenever I'm putting it in my bags. I like to go ahead and have my bag open, and then I like to grab my tissue paper from the middle. So I'm just grabbing it right from the middle, and I'm gonna bring it up and kind of, it'll look like this. So it feels a little crazy and dramatic. But that's the best way to get this to look nice and fluffy without crunching it up. And then the more the merrier. I say for a bag this size, you can add 2 to 3 pieces of tissue, if not more. So we're just gonna add this. And I'm not stuffing it all the way in. I'm just stuffing it right above where the gift would be. Okay? And this is all from the Dollar Tree. So these tissue paper in the bag is Dollar Tree items. And you can see we've got our tissue in here nice and fluffy, but I think we should add some ribbon and a little gnome pick to just spice it up a little bit. So we have these super adorable little gnome picks. I want to say these are probably for decorating your Christmas tree, but I just thought they were so cute and they would look really good in a gift bag just to add a little extra something. I think kids would love these at Christmas to pull out of their bag. And then I've got this really beautiful buffalo plaid ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I cannot believe they have this there. And this is like a pretty solid roll. This is a 45-foot roll of buffalo plaid ribbon. So that's pretty good. It's $5, but that's like a really good size of ribbon. Not only that, but it's wired. So if you're gonna be doing any type of fancy bow, you're gonna want to get a wired ribbon, mainly because you can fluff it out and it's still gonna stay fluffy. It's not gonna fall flat. So what we're gonna do, if you have never made a ribbon like this, I'm going to show you as best as I can. What I like to do is create a loop. So I'm just creating a loop right here. Okay, this is like our first loop. And lucky for us, this ribbon is double-sided. So we're not going to have to twist it to keep the pretty side showing. We can just kind of do an easier version of this bow. And what I'm basically going to be doing is creating loops back to back. So I'm going to create another loop. And I'm grabbing it. I'm going to create another loop on this side, and I'm just grabbing that one. And I'm grabbing it in the same spot. So this is my central point right here. I'm grabbing it there every single time. And then I'm just going to give myself a little bit more ribbon to work with. You can see I'm making another loop on the other side, and then another one. You can really do as many as you want. I'm going to do 3 loops on each side. There's my third loop. And then here is my third loop on the other side. So it's not exactly how I want it yet. I do want to add a tail. So I'm going to add a big loop at the end. So we'll have this big dangly loop. I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Okay. So just like that, we've got this right here. And all I'm gonna do is cut an extra piece of this ribbon off, and I'm gonna tie it through the middle of my bow. So I'm just pulling it through there, and then I'm gonna come on the other side, and I'm gonna tie this in a knot. Okay, and then I'm going to cut this in half, this long tail that we have right here. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm not going to trim it until we get it onto our bag. That way I know how long I want it. But you can kind of fluff this out just like this. Okay. You can see how having a wired ribbon would help here. That way your bow loops stay really fluffy and pretty. And then we're going to take our bag. You can just lay it flat here. You can put a little dot of hot glue on the back here. And I'm just going to pinch that together. Okay. And then once it's dry, we're going to go ahead and dovetail the ends of our bows, just like we did previously. So I'm going to cut up at a 45-degree angle towards the folded end. Okay. And then we can go ahead and take our gnome out of the packaging. We're just going to stick that right inside the bag there. And that's it. So y'all can see this took us like a total of 5 minutes, and once you get the bows down pat, you're gonna be able to throw this together really quickly, and it's gonna give you a really fun and elevated gift wrapping presentation. I want to talk to you all about my favorite gift wrapping that I've done so far with the Dollar Tree ideas. I've got this beautiful glitter ornament. We have a chalk tag, all from the Dollar Tree, this beautiful sage ribbon, and the greenery. I mean, literally everything. Even the box that we wrapped is from the Dollar Tree. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to give you all my favorite tips for making your gift wrap look just like this. Okay, so this is everything you're gonna need to complete this gift wrap idea. I've got some craft wrapping paper. You may not find this in the Christmas section. You may find it closer to where the packaging is at the Dollar Tree. I had a hard time finding it at first, but we found it. And then I've got some different stems. So these are like snow-covered stems. The winter stems at the Dollar Tree this year are phenomenal. They're so good. I mean, even this boxwood greenery, like this is good stuff. I love this. So I've got that, these little cute glittery pine cones. I want to say they have these in silver and gold also. But I like to stick to the brown so it's a little bit more neutral and like boho. And then I did a sage green, which I feel like fits the boho vibe that we're going for. And then these super adorable little chalkboard tags. So they say they're chalkboard. We're going to actually be applying HTV to these. So it's going to look really nice. And we're going to be using a Maker's Gonna Learn file for these. So let's go ahead and do this part. That way it's ready to go once we get our gift wrapped. Once you're in Design Space, you're going to want to pull in a circle from your basic shapes that's the size of your gift tag. So we are using a 3-inch circle, so I'm going to resize it up here. We can change the color to black just so we have a better visual, and we can even zoom in just so we can see it a little bit better. And then what we're going to do is go to the Maker's Gonna Learn website. I'm going to go to Cut Files, and we're going to search for a winter cut file. Like, you can use any of our newer ones, whatever you want. It just needs to fit within that little circle. So we're going to go with this Holly Jolly Christmas. I'm just going to download it from the website and then unzip the file. And you can see we've got a PNG and an SVG. We're going to be using the SVG. So I'm going to go to Upload, Upload Image, and then I'm going to pull that SVG into Design Space. We're going to hit Upload on the bottom right, select our image in our uploads, add to canvas, and then we're just going to need to resize this to the size of our circle. I'm actually going to change this to white. That way we can see what we're working with. And then we're just going to resize it just like this. We want to make sure it fills up the circle as much as it possibly can. So once you get it sized exactly how you want it, we're just going to go ahead and hide our circle. And then we just want to make sure that everything is attached here. So I'm just selecting Attach. And then we're going to go Make It, On Mat, Confirm. And since we're using HTV, we're going to want to mirror our image. So select Mirror over here on the left panel. I'm going to select Continue, and we're using the Maker today. And we're going to be cutting it on the everyday iron-on setting. No need to change the pressure, and then you can go ahead and send it through your Cricut. So I'm just going to cut a small piece of gold, and I'm going to put this on our mat. This is a newer light grip mat, but you're probably going to want to use a standard grip mat for heat transfer vinyl, unless you are using a brand new mat. And you're going to want to put the shiny side down. So this is the front, and then the back is going to be looking at you. We're just going to burnish this down, and then we can put it into the Cricut. So while that's cutting, I'm going to go ahead and turn my mini easy press on to the medium heat setting. I'm going to let that warm up. That way it'll be ready to go once our vinyl is cut. These are a few other ornamental type things that I found at the Dollar Tree that I think would be super cute to add to your gift wrapping. So in this case, we're going to be using pine cones, but you can use totally other things. Like, you can use little decorative bells. You can do these color your own ornaments and leave them as raw wood, or you could paint them to match your color scheme. And they also have lots of different shapes and sizes of these little metal key tags. So I think this would be really cute to add to your gift wrapping as well. It doesn't have to be pine cones. Just kind of think outside of the box whenever you're there, and it's going to really make your gift wrapping look really beautiful. Okay, now that that's cut, we're just going to weed our design out. So now that it's weeded, we can pull our tag over. We can just lay this right on here, centering it as well as we can. You can see that our mini press is ready because it's green, and we're just going to iron this on. There you go. So now that our box is wrapped, I'm going to take some of this burlap ribbon. This is in the $3 to $5 section at the Dollar Tree this year. What I'm going to do is take this. This is the front, so I'm on the front of my box. And then I'm going to flip it around. And we're going to attach it in the back, just like so. So measure it out, line it up. And then you can tape this here, or you can glue it. That's totally up to you. And then while we're still on the back side, I'm going to go ahead and pull out some of this green ribbon. I'm going to line it up on the back, and then we're going to flip our box over. You might need to re-straighten out any ribbon if it got knocked sideways when we flipped it over. And then we're just going to do the same thing that we did with the red ribbon earlier. So making sure we've got plenty of room to make a bow. Go ahead and cut that. Okay. And then I'm just going to tie this in a simple bow as if I were tying my shoestrings. Just remember to keep the outside of the ribbon showing as you tuck it through. Okay, and then we can dovetail our ribbon ends. And then we just need to add this in a couple of our ornaments. So I'm just going to actually take the little piece of thread off, and I'm going to actually glue that up in there. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue right there. And then I'm going to lift my bow up just a little bit and kind of tuck it underneath. So it's just peeking right through. And then we can take some greenery and add it in. You can glue this down as well. And then you can glue your pine cones or whatever you decide to use down as well. That way they're not moving. So just kind of put them on there how you like. Get a good visual. And if you want, this box is a little bit bigger. So I'm going to actually add some more greenery. Okay, I think I am lacking that. And now I'm just going to attach everything with hot glue. And this is the final product. I really love all of the greenery on this. It feels very natural and boho, and it's so, so cute and easy, and everything is from the Dollar Tree, so you really can't beat it. The last thing that I want to talk to you all about is being creative when you're choosing the containers that you're wrapping your gifts in. So I've got a couple different examples over here. This one I love so much. So this is just like a cylinder shaped box, and it has a lid on it. You can actually twist it off. It's technically sealed right now because we added just a piece of ribbon with some bronze HTV on it. It just says comfy and cozy, but you could put to so-and-so or whoever they're gifting it to. You could put little socks or candy or anything down in there. And then we just glued a little bit of greenery on top. So we didn't actually have to do any wrapping, but we really elevated this simple red box by adding this Dollar Tree velvet ribbon, a little bit of HTV, and some greenery and berries on top. Another one I want to talk about is this one right here. So we actually will be putting a tutorial out for this. We're going to do a live stream covering exactly how to do this, but I wanted to show it to you all because you're going to be able to really think outside the box whenever you go to the Dollar Tree, like, hey, I remember they used this and this to wrap their candy. So this is like a giant gift bomb, and we basically taken 2 planter plates. So it's something that you would actually sit a flower pot on so that it catches the water. We put 2 of them together. We painted them, added vinyl, added a cardstock using some of the Maker's Gonna Learn files, wrapped it in cellophane, added some bows, and it looks like a little peppermint patty. And I think this is so, so cute. And all of it, except for the cardstock, is Dollar Tree. I hope today's video was helpful for you all as we enter the holiday season. There are going to be so many things going on around us. I want you all to take a little bit of time during this holiday season and really put some thought and effort into your gift wrapping this year. It can actually be pretty therapeutic. So if you have any questions, make sure to reach out to us. We love to hear from you all. Drop a comment below if you have anything that you want to ask us as far as wrapping goes. And if you are new here, make sure you check out the Makers Gonna Learn website so that you can see all the cut files and fonts that we offer. We would love for you to be a part of our crafting community, and we will see you all in the next one. Bye.